And good morning, Ronnie.
Good morning, Gary.
What do we have today?
Well, we're going to talk about some of the advanced features in Microsoft Word today, concentrating on sections, dividing your document into sections.
Ronnie, you're always so generous and you do these great presentations. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I do training on all of the Microsoft Office products with individuals as well as with corporate groups. And can be half-day training or full-day training.
And your website is?
So it is computertrainingsolutions.biz, B-I-Z, and you can email me or talk to me on, look at the website and call me, and we can discuss what the best arrangement is to train you and get you up and running more productive.
Great. Well, why don't we get started, Ronnie?
Okay, let's go. So everyone should be able to see the screen here. And what I've got on this screen is a newsletter format, kind of, but it's not exactly set up really well. So we're going to use sections to improve the look of this newsletter. And the concept of sections is this: if your entire document has the same margins, has the same column layout, has the same page numbering, then you don't need any sections. If you need to modify the document so that a certain area of it has, let's say, multiple columns but not the whole document, or a certain area has a landscape, a page, and not the whole document, then you need to divide into sections in order to see that. Now, when you're going to be using sections, it's pretty important to turn on that Show Hide button, which you have in your Home tab, so that you can see all the returns, and you can also see the section divisions. So I'm going to go above. So the idea is, the first thing I want to do is I want to make this heading for the newsletter not wrap. I want to fit it on one line, and I don't want to make the margins, change the margins for the whole document, nor do I want to make the heading smaller. So instead, I'm going to put in a section break before and after it, and then I'll be able to modify the margins for just that piece. So I'm going to go to the layout. If you're using an earlier version, it'll say page layout. And I'm going to go to breaks choice. Okay, and in breaks, notice you have page breaks, you have column breaks, and you have a whole area here with section breaks. And you can either section break with the next page, in other words, a page break as well, which we don't want to do here. So we're going to do a continuous section break. And because I have the Show Hide on, you can see that. If I didn't have it on, you would not see the break. I'm going to make another break after this section break. So it's, again, breaks from the Layout tab. And it's a continuous, because I don't want a page break there. So you can see that. Now, if you have turned on in your status bar, if you have it turned on to show you sections, then you can see what section you're in. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you right-click on the status bar, these are all items you can either turn on or off. You can't add anything here, but you can turn them on. So if I click on section, and then when I click away from that, it goes away. And now I see that I'm now in section 2 because I'm in the heading. If I click in the masthead up here, I'm in section 1. If I click down here, you can see it says section 3. So if I'm anywhere in section 2 now, and I change the margins, and that would again be in my layout, and I'm going to go to margins, and I'm going to customize them to just change it so that the left and the right margin are just exactly 1 inch instead of 1 1/4. And that makes the, obviously, the text area wider. And so now this does not wrap. And as you can see, it did not change the margins in the rest of the document because I had it set off by sections.
Ronnie, this is Microsoft Word 2016. Is there much difference between 2016 and the previous version?
This would all work the same, starting with the 2007 when you have this ribbon set up to get to your functions. It would be the same, and you can do it in earlier versions. It's just then it's menu, so it's a little bit different. I think the layout tab is called page layout in an earlier one, but it's pretty much the same thing. So good question. So now let's say if I really want this to be a newsletter, I'd like it to be multiple column. So I'm going to select the rest of the document, and again in my same page setup area in layout, there's a columns choice. and I'm going to say 2, which would automatically make it 2 equal columns with a spacing in between. I could modify that if I went to more columns, then it gives me a choice to say 2, and perhaps I don't want a line in between, or perhaps I want to make them uneven in spacing, or perhaps I don't want a half an inch, I want a 1/4 inch. So I could modify what the columns look like, the sizes and so forth. So now I've got, it automatically put in a section break because I told it I wanted more columns. So I don't really need 2 of them, but it doesn't hurt anything. But sometimes when you're working with columns like here, I don't like this new topic starting at the bottom of this column and then completing at the top of the next column. So maybe I want to create a break for columns, a column break. And that again is in the breaks. And where we saw we had the section breaks on the bottom, here's a column break. And that automatically puts that topic all starting on the top of a column. And there's your column break. Again, it's showing because we have the show hide on. And if we go down to the last page of this, the table is being broken up by a column. So that's not, doesn't seem optimal. So let's put in a column break here. And now you can see the whole table is on one column. And that looks a lot better. So that's just a few of the features that you would use. If I have 2 breaks here, I think I could delete one without causing any issues. Nope, because that break had the information about the margin in it. So I deleted the wrong one. Let's see if I delete this one. Yeah, that one is okay to delete because it already has a column break in it. And if I wanted to correct the spacing a little, I might delete that return. Okay, so that's the idea. And if I go home and turn off the show hide, you can see that you don't see any of that column break or section break or any of those things. So that's the way it goes. Okay, so that's some of the things that you can do with section breaks. I'm going to look at another document now and show you a couple of other things. Here's a report that goes on for a few pages, and you'll notice at the bottom of this page a table starts that continues on the next page, and you can see that it's running right off the side of the page. So this is a table that would be a lot better off on a landscape page, but right now the whole document is portrait, and if I just say change it to landscape, you know, the whole document will be landscape, so that won't help very much. So let's put on the show hide here so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to go into the layout tab again, and I'm going to create, and this time of course it has to be on a next page because the landscape has to be on a page by itself. So I'm putting that on starting a new page, and now I'm going to create a next page break for the rest of the document. So that is a next page section break, so that the table is on a page all by itself, still right now a portrait page. So I can click anywhere in that section, and notice it now says I'm in section 2, and I'm going to go to the orientation, change it to landscape. And now we have a landscape page in the middle of a portrait document, which you sometimes might need if you have tables like that. So that's only because there are the section breaks, and here we have the section break indicated here. And that's interesting. We don't see it over there, but it's there. Okay, so that's a little bit about using the section breaks for landscape. Okay, I have a couple of other indicators and things that we can do, and I'm pulling up another document for that. So this is an annual report document, and you can see it has a cover page, it has a table of contents, and then it has some report information that goes on for several pages. And at the end, it has some tables on a couple of pages. Okay, so we're going to modify this document. Let's say we want to put some headers on the document, but we don't want them to exist on the first couple of pages that have a title page and the table of contents. We want it to start with the header on this page, which is actually page 3 of 11, as it says down here. Now, it's all in one section now. In order to change the page numbering in a document, you need to have a section break. So if I wanted to have the first page unnumbered, I could say a different first page, and that would enable me to do that. But if I want 2 pages that are not numbered, I'm going to have to make a section break in order to do that. So I'm going to go to my layout again and breaks, and I'm going to say right now it's a continuous section break because I'm not making a new page here. And now I'm in section 2. So if I want to create a header, let's say here, I'm going to go to my insert and I'm going to say header. And I'm just going to go into edit header. Okay, so I'm in the header design tab. And the first thing I'm going to do is say I want to unlink this from the previous because I do not want this to continue. I'm not going to put any header on the first 2 pages. So I'm going to unlink it from the previous. And then I'm just going to maybe tab over to the middle and type annual report or whatever I want it to say. And then perhaps I'm going to put in a date or something. And then I can close the header footer. And let's just see if it did what I wanted it to do, which was no header on the first 2 pages. And then all of the subsequent pages are going to have that same header. Okay, so that's going to go throughout the document. I want to get back to the first page here. And what I want to do is add a footer. Okay, so I'm going to, I can do an insert footer, or I can just double click at the footer area of the page and that will open up the footer. And again, since I don't want it to page number the first 2 pages, which is what I'm going to put in the footer, I'm going to unlink to the previous. And then maybe I'm going to go to footer, and I'm going to tell it to you know what? Let's just do page number. That'll make it easier. Page number, bottom of page, and I'm going to say just a plain number. Now, it still sees this as page 3, but if I go to footer and I say edit the footer. Format. I'm looking. Oh, here it is. It's formatting under the page numbering. Format it. And I don't want it to start at 1, which is what it usually does. So I'm going to tell it to start at 3. No, maybe I want it to start at 1. Because it already did 3. Okay, so I'm starting this at 1. And I'm going to close out of the header footer. And so we don't have any numbers on the first couple of pages. And we are having it start on the 3rd page, numbering it with 1, 2, 3, etc. And that's going to go throughout the whole document, of course, and it goes down to what it's calling number 9. Okay. Now, what if I want a certain area of the document that talks about relocation, and I want to make that a new area of the document with a new header that says relocation. If I want to do that, I'm going to again say in the layout tab that I want to create a next page break because I want that to start a new page. And if I want it to have a new header, I'm going to double click in the header area. I'm going to delete the header that's there. Okay. And I'm going to, again, say, don't link to the previous. So I'm going to uncheck link to previous. And maybe I'm going to call that relocation or whatever I'd like it to say. And then I'm going to close the header footer. And so if we look before, something is amiss here. Relocation is going forward. That's fine. But why did it lose its previous header? I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, well, let's continue with one other change here, and I'll check that out. If we wanted the tables at the end of the document to then have a separate header that says tables, for instance, we could, again, create a break. I'll just say continuous because I'm already on a next page, and go into the header. And instead of doing that, maybe, oops, I want that to say tables. Nope, let's make it consistent. And let's see. So it now says tables here for the last couple. And it says tables for those too. So I think maybe because I didn't make it a next page section break, I just did a continuous. Didn't like that. So it picked up the tables all around. Let's delete the this header footer, the header stuff, and try that again. I'm going to take out the section break here, which will, if you remove the section break, it takes out all of the features that were part of that section break. So we should be able to try this once more. So I don't have any headers here. Okay, so I'm going to go to this, and I have a section break here that's continuous. I'm going to create a next page section break. Okay, and then we're going to go into the header on this next page, and I'm going to call it annual report. Before I even type in anything, I'm going to say don't link to the previous. And then I'm going to call it annual report. Close out, and we should have annual report on all of these and not on the first two pages. Okay. Then let's go down to that relocation area. Okay. And let's create, oh, well, here it is. It's a continuous section break. I don't want to do that. I want to create a, I think the problem was, and it's good to find that out, that you need the next page section break. Okay, so then I'm going to go into here and say do not link to the previous. And I'm going to say relocation as a header here. And therefore I have relocation down here. And let's check out. You took out the headers before. Well, I'm a little puzzled, but.
Well, we might have to do another session on this, Ronny. Why don't we move forward with that one and then.
I've done this 100 times. It's so interesting. Okay, I'm sure I got the idea for the page break. Let's take out the page break here, and let's try one more time here with the next page section break. All right, so I'm going to go into the tables area, and I'm going to uncheck the link to previous, and I'm going to replace this with tables as a header. And let's see what happens here. We have tables from this point on. It should be the header. Yeah, but let's see what happened before. Yes, okay, so here we still have relocation, and then after this we have a blank page here, but I just put a page break. That's not the, okay, now we have the tables going forward. Okay, so that's the important part, is you have to make sure that it's a next page section break if you're going to create something like headers or footers that are on different pages. Okay, so let's say
so it seems like it's pretty easy to try it. If it doesn't work, you just delete that.
Right.
That
either
line.
Undo or delete that page break or
Right.
that section break and then try it again. The important thing, first of all, is to start at the front of the page and go forward. If you start somewhere in the middle or in the back in creating your sections, you're going to get mixed up, especially with the page numbering and so forth. So you have to start at the front, and then each time you get to a point where you want to change the header or the footer or the page number, you have to put in a next page section break. So that seems to be the key here. If I wanted to, let's do one more. If I wanted to change in the tables, if I wanted to change the page numbering so that the pages went ABC, sometimes we have an appendix or something that we want to do that. And this already has a next page section break in it in order to have the headers change, which we saw they did. So I'm going to double click in the footer, which right now is labeled 1. That's interesting. And I'm going to change the page numbering, format it. Instead of numbering, I'm going to say ABC. And I want it to start at A. And when I say OK, so now I have A and B as my headers. And I still have pages, regular numbers for the pages before that. So that's a little bit about working with the section breaks in terms of a long document that has different parts of it that you have to number differently, or change the headers or footers, or change the orientation of the page, change the margins. All of those things would require section breaks. So it makes it easier. First of all, you need to have your show hide turned on so you can see all of that stuff. It makes it easier if you turn on in your status bar that you want sections to be showing, so you can see what section you're in when you click, and that will make it easier. Any questions at this point?
Yeah, you could just put it in the chat section, and if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
And just as another little nice feature on something like this, this report already has a cover page that was just obviously created by typing in a heading and subheading and so forth. But the program has, if you go to the Insert tab, all the way on the left, cover pages. And they give you, I don't know, about 15 different setups for cover pages, and you can create your own and then save it. But instead of having to create your own, you can pick a cover page, and it automatically pops in what your heading, title is. And some of them have a place where you can indicate date. Some of them have a place where you can have a subheading or pull out a paragraph that explains the document, etc. So nice feature if you're doing long documents. Okay, don't see any questions. So I hope you will take a try on creating a document that has some section breaks in it, and then if you practice it, you'll remember how to do it when you need it.
Yeah, and we also have other training coming up. So if you go to uscomputer.com, and you'll be able to see our calendar of events. And Ronny is gracious enough to offer these training classes for free in Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So we have lots going on. Have a nice day, everybody.